Wednesday, July 31st, 1715. As the Spanish fleet sailed near present-day Cape Kennedy, a devastating hurricane strikes. There's no escape for the 12 vessels caught between the wind and shoreline. One-aft ships are shredded by jagged reefs. Men stumble around and unable to breathe the suffocating mixture of wind and salt water. Some cling to the boats, while others, their greedy pockets filled with gold and silver, dive into the sea in a certain grave. The light of dawn casts an eerie shadow over the water, and the remains of 11 ships, the bodies of more than 1,000 men, and $20 million in treasure which lie beneath the surface. Within weeks after the disaster, Spanish divers began a 4-year salvage operation which resulted in recovery of $6 million. For more than 250 years, only the creatures of the sea knew the location of the sunken Spanish galleons and the remaining $14 million in treasure lying in water less than 20 feet deep and within a mile of shore. Romantic movies notwithstanding, ancient shipwrecks are never found intact with skeletons at the wheel and fishnets caught in masts and rigging. An underwater termite, the sea torpedo, eats away most of the wood, leaving only cannons. Rock to mark a wreck. A retired contractor named Kip Wagner was one of the Cape residents who discovered coins which had washed ashore over the years. His curiosity was aroused to the point where Kip began extensive research on ancient shipwrecks. An early chart of Florida outlined the general site of the disaster. Wagner carefully checked all the landmarks and thought he knew where the vessels had gone down. He and 7 associates formed the Real 8 Company in 1959. While most of the residents at the Cape centered their attention on the men and machines involved in the race to the moon, Real 8 divers equipped themselves to probe the depths of the ocean. They obtained the necessary permits from the state agency responsible for controlling the recovery of sunken treasure. Florida permits the salvager to keep 75% of all valuables recovered, but reserves the right to choose its share first. Enough money was scraped together for the purchase of a 50-foot boat. Each morning, the ship, complete with sophisticated electronic gear to pinpoint the various sites, left port and headed south to the wreck area. The recovery of treasure, which has been shifted and covered by the endless motion of swift tides, is a long and tedious process. Before disturbing any part of a wreckage, exact plans of each ship are mapped out. Authentic drawings of vessels which sailed during the period gave Reel 8 the information as to where the treasure was stored in each ship. Divers then measured the heavier wooden beams before the actual salvage operation began. The wreck sites can be worked only 5 months each year, and even during this time, the visibility is such that men working side by side can often barely distinguish one another. The majority of days are discouraging, but finally in the summer of 1960, Reel 8 spirits were given a boost when divers removing rocks from a site came upon some silver coins. A 7-pound ingot of pure gold and a silver plate were found on another occasion. As each day went by, the various discoveries were carefully examined, and the silver placed in a solution to remove the blackened effect of the sea. A blower utilizing the ship's propeller was finally devised to remove the tons of coral, coquina, and sand which covers each wreck. Utilizing the blasting power of the boat, it is capable of opening a hole 20 feet wide and through 5 feet of sand in less than 5 minutes. Divers can then quickly reach the area where electronic sensors have indicated the existence of metal. One of the most significant finds was a chest of silver coins, welded into a blackened mass by the churning sea water. It's hard to imagine that 3,000 silver pieces of 8 are contained in what one diver described as a lump of coal. The task of bringing the chest to the surface is a delicate one. However, from the beginning of Reel 8's operations, the divers have been careful to preserve all artifacts found beneath the sea, as many of the finds are priceless in terms of historical value. As the swift shoreline tides begin hampering the salvage of the chest, divers gather coins which break away from the mass. This particular chest still has a wooden bottom, and a portion of the wooden sides remain intact, probably because it was buried under enough sand to keep the sea torpedo at a distance. Slowly, the chest is placed on a quickly assembled plywood platform and raised to the surface. On June 29, 1968, colorful ceremonies marked the formal dedication of the $1 million Museum of Sunken Treasure at Cape Canaveral, Florida. Fernando de Soto and the conquistadores brought a flavor of New World Spain to the occasion. After years of planning, Real 8 finally had a permanent home where all could see and appreciate the treasures salvaged from the ocean floor and relive the history of the fortune. The museum was designed to capture the sights and sounds of one of the world's great treasure stories. You are guided through the three-dimensional displays while listening to realistic sound effects and narration by the Real 8 divers on a personalized tape recorder. In addition to the gold and silver, divers over the years have discovered such objects as cannon, copper pots, sounding leads, bronze weights, inkwells, plates, and eating utensils, sword handles, firearm parts, and even delicate bone china. The total recovery is valued at more than $5 million, and examples of all the items are on display at the museum. Some of the more valuable treasure includes these gold doubloons, some worth as much as $18,000 each, which bear symbols giving clues to the history of the Americas in the New World. Legendary silver pieces of 8, shown before and after cleaning in their irregular cob shape. Priceless bone china from the Kangxi dynasty, which survived more than 250 years in the ocean and is among the rarest discoveries. These historic finds and priceless treasures await you in the Real 8 Museum of Sunken Treasure at Cape Canaveral, Florida.